The small town of Salem in the state of Massachusetts, USA, buzzed with excitement as the Dream Circus arrived. It was a traditional circus with animal acts, acrobats, tightrope walkers, and clowns. The audience consisted of families with children, and the circus was considered a safe and fun event. The circus was set up on a spacious, wooded lot on the outskirts of town. The location was beautiful and cozy with a family-friendly atmosphere. The circus itself was a modern, colorful structure with cheerful and festive decorations. The circus performers were all friendly and attentive. The clowns were especially beloved by the audience, making children laugh with their antics and jokes. Sarah was a tall, slender woman with long black hair, bright green eyes, and fair, delicate skin. She had a slim, muscular body and was beautiful, but she was also strong and determined. She had always been a lover of art and culture, enjoying reading about history and philosophy and attending plays and concerts. When Sarah heard about the circus coming to town, she was immediately interested. She wanted to see the acrobatics, juggling, and exotic animals. Sarah was also curious about the circus's history. She wanted to know how it was founded and how it had survived over the years. Sarah decided to go to the circus with her friend Laura to share the experience. She wanted to make sure she would make the most of the visit. Sarah and Laura arrived at the circus in the early afternoon. They bought tickets and entered the tent. The performances started soon after. Sarah was enchanted by the trapeze artists' acrobatics, the clowns' juggling, and the exotic animals. Sarah and Laura had a great time. They laughed, applauded, and shouted with joy. At the end of the show, Sarah and Laura said their goodbyes and left. When Sarah got home, she went straight to bed but couldn't sleep. She was thinking about everything she had seen at the circus. She remembered the main clown, a tall, thin man with red hair and black eyes. He was funny and charismatic, but Sarah felt something strange about him. She couldn't explain what it was, but she felt that there was something wrong with that clown. Sarah closed her eyes and tried to sleep but couldn't stop thinking about the clown. She felt restless and anxious. Suddenly, she heard a noise. She sat up in bed, scared. The noise came from the window. Sarah got up and went to the window. She looked outside but saw nothing. She was about to go back to bed when she saw something move in the darkness. Sarah hesitated for a few seconds, then decided to go downstairs to the kitchen. She descended the stairs cautiously. Each step was an echo of suspense as she prepared to face the unknown. Upon reaching the kitchen, her eyes scanned the empty surroundings. Sarah's breath became faster, her heart began to beat harder. Suddenly, she heard a sound from the backyard that made her freeze in place. Footsteps echoed in the darkness, approaching slowly. Sarah's heart raced even faster. She knew she wasn't alone on that silent night. The footsteps continued, subtly advancing towards her. Sarah, fearing the worst, was on the verge of panic. Another sound, closer, echoed in the air, confirming her suspicions. She was far from alone at that moment. The sight of something moving in the darkness made Sarah stand still. Her eyes widened as she saw the clown emerging from the shadows with a sinister smile, revealing sharp teeth. Terrified, she barely blinked as the clown stood in front of the window, staring at her with piercing eyes. The smile, now more menacing, left her immersed in horror. The clown remained there, a surreal figure in the dark night. In a scream of terror, Sarah turned and ran towards the front door, desperate to escape. Her fingers trembled as she tried to open the door, but it was locked. The clown circled around to the door, his steps echoing like an ominous omen. In a moment of desperation, Sarah returned to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. At that moment, the clown managed to invade the house and went after Sarah in the kitchen. Confronted by the clown, she threw the knife in the direction of the intruder. The blade hit the intruder's arm, who screamed in pain and retreated, holding the wound. Seizing the opportunity, Sarah ran to the window, opened it, and jumped outside, landing forcefully on the ground. Injured but alive, she stood up and moved away from the house, leaving behind the scene of horror. In the street, Sarah found neighbors alerted by the screams. Her distressing account prompted them to call the police. When the authorities arrived, a search was conducted, but the clown had disappeared again into the night shadows. Sarah was taken to the hospital where she received treatment for her injuries. However, the now fear-infused house became uninhabitable. Determined not to be a prisoner of fear, Sarah moved to another town, starting a new life. The legend of the Midnight Clown persisted, marking the memory of the small town of Salem. The enigma remained unsolved, and Sarah, once fearless, carried physical and emotional scars forever, turning her into a person haunted by fear. This episode influenced every aspect of her life.